Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're doing a shaky cam interior review of, you guessed it, a Corvette. This is the 2016 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. This is a phenomenal car. If you recall from last year, I reviewed the 2015 in the convertible. This is a 2016 in a coupe. Very little difference, of course, because in the 1 year they really didn't change that much, but there is a difference in how the car drives, and there is a big difference in how the car how you operate the roof and things like that. So we'll look at those things, and then also the other difference we have is last year was an automatic transmission, this year is a manual transmission, which changes a couple of other things as well. So let's get to it. This is just a phenomenal car. I think, in my mind, this is the best car American manufacturers have to offer right now. There are some that might be in contention for that, but I think I would put this one on top. I'm just gonna say that. You can hate on me if you want. So let me fix my cover because it's kind of encroaching on the screen here. All right, so let's go over here. Window and door control. So here's the locks, seat memory settings, windows here. Over here you have your heads-up display controls. So I'd never be able to capture these with a camera. The heads-up display is directly in front of the driver, right at the bottom of the windscreen. You can move it up and down to, so if you've adjusted the seat or whatever, it'll match your height. Here you can change what kind of info is on there, and that's the brightness control. At night, you do want to turn it down because it does sometimes feel a little bright in your eyeballs. Over here, mirror adjustments. So coming up here, we see on the drive, this is the Rev Matching. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but these paddle shifters don't actually shift anything. They toggle the Rev Matching on and off. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Over here you have your lighting controls, and then right here you have your cruise control stuff. So pretty straightforward right there. This does not have adaptive cruise or anything like that, just FYI, and as far as I know, it is not an option. Over here you have your windshield washers and so forth. Another toggle for rev matching, because they basically just took the paddle shifters out of that are standard feature actually in this car for the automatic transmission, and they just left them in and used them for rev match instead. Down here you have the controls that run what's up there, so you can flip through your menus with this, and do a few other things. Your telephone and so forth is up here. Not too complicated to use. You get used to this very, very quickly. You can just page through some menus. You can look at some different things you want to, whatever you want to see. So you can see, your oil life, your tire, and fuel economy stuff, anything like that you want to know. It's all right here. So I really like this kind of stuff. This is supposed to show you the speed limits. I will note that it is GPS based, so it is not always correct. Otherwise, there you go. That's most of the options you have right there. Some of those you can page back and forth a little bit, and then anyway, fiddle with it. And if you have one of these cars, fiddle with it. It's sometimes useful information depending on the mode you have it in and so forth. So here's your speedo, and it goes over 200 miles an hour. The car, I believe, is rated at about that. I have not obviously taken it that fast. I do not have a racetrack out here. I'm driving on regular public roads, so I do not go that fast. But it is, I would not question whether or not it's capable of that. This is a very, very quick car, drives exceedingly well at speed. Over here's your fuel gauge, down here's engine temperature, and then up here this screen can change a little bit, but this is probably what you'll see most of the time. Tachometer, very important because this is a manual transmission. Speedo's in the middle there. I have the trip showing right now. You saw there was a few other things you can show. Right in here, you're gonna have your gear. So if I shift into first gear, it will show up there. Then over here you have your oil temperature. Over here you have your pressure. So pretty straightforward, simple. And then if I go back and forth on those menus, I don't know if we looked at that, but you can change what these are. And then there's another way to do it too. I'll show you that in a second. Moving on, over here you have the center stack and infotainment. You might have noticed that I forgot to show you these, but down here, here's how you flip through your favorite channels, and here's how you control volume. Now looking at this, here's your volume control knob here, which is what I use most of the time rather than what's on the steering. This is a push button start, you'll note. This is the infotainment, hasn't changed from last time. Really awesome. Works very, very well. I've seen this, and you've probably seen this when I've reviewed them. We've seen this same thing in several General Motors vehicles, including last year when we had the Corvette. One thing that's different is the performance data recorder. So you can load that up, and it gives you a warning screen, of course, but you load that up and you can do all kinds of stuff. So you can set you can define a finish line, so you create a loop, and then you can run that as a circuit and time it and do whatever. You can record all of this stuff with the forward-facing camera that's up here near the rear view mirror, and you can do overlays of the instrument cluster, stuff like that. You will see a couple of performance videos that I did from this very soon. So if they haven't gone up already, they will go up shortly after this does. Down here you have your temperature controls and stuff, and also quick controls for this stuff. So you saw I just hit the home button to get back. You can page through the menu with this, so you don't have to touch the screen every time. And then of course you have your Ethan Hunt section. So this isn't a British car, right? So I can't use a James Bond reference. So you have a little cubby here. You can use it for a myriad of things. There's a little light, there's a USB port. This is perfect for throwing your phone, your MP3, whatever in there. Or, you know, if you happen to be from Colorado, maybe you have something else that goes in there. Or if you're, well, if you live in Wyoming, this is where you put your pistol. So, but it hides it away, keeps it safely tucked away, and most people would not know to look for it there, and they wouldn't be able to get this open if the car's not on. Not easily anyway, not without shattering that screen. Down here you have your climate controls. You can see I have the seat coolers on, and then you can see pretty much everything else is straightforward. It's pretty simple. Most of the time what I've been doing is you just set the temperature here, I hit sync and auto and let it do its thing on its own. When you're cruising down the highway, that's probably just the way to do it. You have some nice little touches here. You can feel the suede on the side of this. This is the shifter 7-speed transmission. We have an 80-mile-an-hour speed limit on our freeway. At 80 miles an hour in 7th gear, this car is only doing about 1,400 RPMs. That will tell you why this gets 29 miles the gallon on the highway. Beautiful transmission. You can go over 100 in 4th gear and still have plenty of RPM left before you have to shift. So just a beautiful transmission, does a very, very good job. Easy to shift, you get used to it very quickly. 1st and 2nd gear are very stiff. After that, they're pretty loose and easy to get in and out of. And that's what you want in a performance car. You want those first 2 gears to be very tight, and then you want everything else to be quick and easy. Because most of the time you're performing in this car, you're doing, you're going fast, you're hitting corners, stuff like that, you're probably in 1st through 3rd. So here you have your nice little 12 volt there. Here's your Starbucks holders, electronic parking brake. This is the mode selector. So you can quickly turn traction control, and then you can flip through any of the modes. So modes begin with eco mode. That's the very first one, and that is the for maximizing fuel efficiency. Then the next one in line is the let's see, touring mode. That's great for the highway and stuff. Eases off on the engine, lightens up the steering a little bit, so like eco mode, it's just a very easy drive. The throttle's a little slower to respond, those sorts of things. Just makes it a more sedate and easy driving car. You heard I mentioned the steering. That is because this car has electric assist steering, not pneumatic. Now, or hydraulic, whatever. Anyway, that is a big deal, and some people have knocked on that, but once you've driven it, you realize you get the same amount of feedback. I am surprised at how much feedback I'm getting in this car, because normally in an electric assist you get very little. It's almost dead. In this car you get a lot of feedback, and then the advantage of electric assist is you have these adjustments. So when you're in eco and touring mode, the steering is much sloppier, a little looser, easier, simpler to use. There's a lot more assistance going, so it's you can turn it with just a few fingers, very easy. You move it into sport mode, and all that changes. You go into sport mode, the steering tightens up, gets very, very positive, lots of response. There's very little slop. Really awesome, and shifting changes a little bit. The engine revs change a lot. So that's sport mode. And then in track mode, pretty much everything turns off. Driving is almost like you have no assist at all in the steering. It feels almost manual. And then add in all the other stuff. The way the engine runs, the traction control is off the whole time, all that stuff. That is track mode. So those are your 4 modes here. You just back and forth like this to swap them. Very easy, and it shows you what mode you're in right there. And then earlier I talked about rev matching. So here we're in first gear. I pull the trigger, toggle rev matching. You see now it turned yellow. Once rev matching is on, when you downshift, you don't have to goose the engine if you want to make it smooth. It does it for you, and it does it perfectly every time. So I go and say I'm in second gear, and then I drop down to first gear. The engine will rev up, and then so as soon as I pull it out of second gear and I push it into first, the engine immediately revs. Then I let off the clutch, and it goes into gear easily. Really, really awesome. If you haven't felt rev matching before, in a car like maybe a 370Z or something, you really need to try it, because it changes your performance capability and eases driving a lot in a manual transmission. So here you have your center cubby. There's not a whole lot of space, just enough to put my selfie stick in there. You see you have some USB plugs. There is plenty of space here to drop a phone or whatever, even in a big thick case. 12 volt here, and that's about it. It's felt lined, so it feels good. I better take this out so I don't forget it. Your stuff doesn't slide around. It's a good little container. I want you to notice the Kona leather in this. Beautiful. And then they have suede in the center, and then it's vented, of course. Beautiful seating. I love the seating in this car. I would pay the extra money to get this for sure. Electronic door locks down there are emergency handles, so if the electronics are gone, batteries out or whatever, then you can physically open the doors. And of course the door lock controls and window control right there. Here you can see the floor, some of the stitching, and just the good looks. The passenger has control of their own heating and cooling and so forth right there, so they don't have to try to get to this, which is angled towards the driver, so it's a little difficult. Plus they have this big OMG bar right here. Just a great look to it. The back, because it's the coupe, you actually have a rear and space to put things. It's 3 latches, just FYI. It is 3 latches to release the roof. It stows in the back, clips into place. The roof only weighs, the top of this car, it's a Targa roof, it only weighs 13 pounds. It's an easy one-person job. I've been able to take it off in 10 seconds. It's no time at all. And putting it back on takes about twice that. I can put it back on in about 30 or less. Very simple operation, really awesome. So very well done. Love this car. I've had a great time in this car this week. Really enjoyed it. So there you go. This is the 2016 Corvette Stingray. This is the coupe model with the standard transmission. This has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and we'll talk to you again soon.